Peace. It's this nigga Keep It Real, Can You Slide once again. In today's video, we're going to be talking about using the imagination to tell stories. Okay? Now, in my previous video, I stated that before you come on my channel, please use your brain critically before you start stating comments and just speaking stuff out of thin air. Okay? Now, what I want to do is I want to go here to the second N-word once again and show that this word has no date on it. It's the oldest word in the world. So before you get to your so-called Egyptians, Sumerians, they were all known as niggas. The word Egyptians and Sumerians and Hebrew, all that stuff came, all those terms came later. It came later. This is facts. The greeting of the word nigger was prevalent and the same as brother in the U.S. until the 1940s. So all the way from the beginning up to the 1940s, black folks were known as niggas. Okay? Now, I've been through this before, but so let me do this. So you have here, give me 1 second. You know I gotta cue my music up. I gotta go in. This is sad.
Now existence, you see,
Okay.
is something that is spontaneous. The Chinese word for nature means that which happens of itself.
All right, let's go. Let's get it. So, and the Africans who wrote the Bible, we're gonna start in the introduction one more time, and we're gonna go in, right? So this guy, the author, Nana Bunchy Darkwar, he is from the Akan people. Okay? And he is royal. He has royalty. So it says, Christianity has just entered its third millennium, and on Sunday, March 12, 2000, Pope John Paul II used his traditional Sunday Mass to apologize for the sins and atrocities of the church against people and cultures around the world for the past 2,000 years. From historical evidence, the sins of the church are numerous. However, the worst lie and sin of the church was the premeditated transformation of the racial and ethnic identities of Jesus Christ, his mother, and the entire people of the Bible from the black people, from the entire people of the Bible, from the black people they were to white people, to satisfy emerging European racist sentiments against black people. This made it possible for Christian Europe to perceive black people who created the concepts, doctrines, and sacramental practices that eventually became the foundation of Christianity as the cursed ones by the very God black people imagined, created, and personified. Okay? It made it possible for the church to authorize Europeans to enslave black people because they were pagans. They called black folks pagans, Negroes. It made it possible for ignorant Europe to perceive black people as inferior and white people as superior. It also made it possible for Europeans to go to church to worship a God that was created by black people and then come home to perpetuate the worst atrocities on black people that were slaves, that were their slaves. Worst of all, this made it possible for Christian Europe and Europeans to justify all the atrocities they were perpetrating against black people, the original people of the Bible, as ordained by God. All all these, it says the earlier apostolic fathers, all these did not happen because the church did not know that the original people of the Bible were black people. Okay? Were black people. Okay? The church has long known this, has long known this, as it has known the mother of Jesus to be the black Madonna of the church since the past 2,000 years. He says, my point is, the continued lie in Christianity about the black heritage of Jesus Christ and the people of the Bible has been the most atrocious and worst sin of the church and Christianity in the past 2,000 years. Okay? So these are all stories our ancestors came up with, right? And that's what we do. When we read these books and we read these stories, all we are doing is using our imagination and painting a picture in our mind and making a movie out of it. Because none of us was there back then. Let's keep on going. I'm gonna address something. Okay? Alright? So it says here, let's keep on going. It says, because the development of Christianity was based on many things that the apostolic fathers did not want the masses to know, interpretations of the Bible that began in Western Europe and was propagated around the world through Christianity has been based upon some serious falsehoods and false assumptions. Numerous European scholars have known and written about these falsehoods and assumptions in the foundation of Christianity. For example, in Volume 1 of the Natural Genesis, a book of beginnings by Gerald Macy, 1883, called The Story and Practice of Christianity, the Legendary Lying Lord. Among the falsehoods and false assumptions and the foundation of Christianity has been the belief that the Jewish people that followed the Bible into Europe actually wrote the documents of the Bible. Revelations of the African names of the authors of the Old Testament in this book will show that the Jewish people did not write the documents. They compiled and edited for the Greeks for them to become the first Bible, the Greek Bible. Let's drop down here. It says, when people in the West read the Bible, they come across stories of the lives of people from a different culture. That in itself has a fascinating appeal that makes them believe that everything they are reading is true. When we read the Bible in Africa, we wonder why we wonder why Europeans have claimed the cultural traditions, religion and lifestyle in the Bible for the Jews when we still live lives based upon traditions, religion, and lifestyles in Africa. For example, Jewish naming ceremonies and rituals have been Igbo naming ceremonies since these people lived in the Middle East and Egypt in ancient times. Alright? Yet, according to the Bible, the supposed ancestors of the Jewish people originated from Ur of the Chaldees in Mesopotamia, where there were no white people, and there were no Arabs in the region at that time. In this region at that time, there were only black people. Most of these people went to live in ancient Egypt, where there were no white people but only black people. Let's drop down here. And it says here that despite people's interest in knowing whether Jesus was a black man or not, this work did not set out to prove the racial and ethnic heritage of Jesus and the people of the Bible. It began from a disturbing revelation I came across in a related interest, and that interest was ancient Egypt. In a history of ancient Egypt, Nicholas Grimmel revealed in his doctrine that it was not so long ago, however, that the combined influence of the Bible and classical traditions conspired to produce a rather incoherent view of Egyptian civilization, and the chronological disputes inherited from the 19th century are the continuing legacy. This was quite a profound revelation for me, because I know of the classical efforts by Greek rulers and scholars to propagate the ideas that the Greeks created the ancient Egyptian civilization. I know of the work of the Greek writers like THIER, who asserted and propagated such a preposterous idea in his writings. I know the works of Apollonius of Rhodes, who wrote trying to blend Greek and ancient Egyptian cultures to make the unfounded claims of the Greeks complete. I know that Ptolemy, a Greek ruler of ancient Egypt after Alexander had conquered the Egyptians, asked Manetho to rewrite ancient Egyptian history and convert the names of ancient Egyptian kings into Greek. This was to make it possible for later Greek rulers of Egypt to fit their names onto the traditional kings list and glorious history of ancient Egypt. Now, let's go over here to this page, right? And listen, now check this out. So, I want to do something here. Now, this guy came on my channel and he stated this. This dude named Thomas Duke. He says, there is nothing like God, but that is a title which only came with books that barbarian slave masters wrote. He says, my tribes in Africa know no God. After all, it is an English word which is not even a tribal language, even though it was created from the Bantu languages. Okay? And he says that not all those tribes he mentioned were ancient Egyptian. Please, brother, you are confusing yourself with books written by different people who are trying to make money. I am from the tribe that live in Africa, and I know which tribe is which because I guess he's trying to say the tribes are nations and not countries that your barbarian Neanderthals created. I'm sorry to disagree with you. Okay, so you claim, so you say you're from Africa. Okay, what tribe are you from? Give us a tribe. Just don't speak shit. Give us evidence. Prove it. What tribe are you from? What country in Africa do you come from? So I don't just speak shit out of thin air. I prove it with facts and evidence. You just quote, you just speaking stuff. You're not proving any. You're not showing any references for me to go back and look upon. You just quoting. You just saying stuff. So this guy who wrote this book, he is from Africa. Okay? Now, he says here that, let's drop down. He says, I am an African, specifically an Akan. As I began to exercise of trying to decipher the indigenous names of ancient Egyptian kings, people, and places, he said I began to discover that most of these names were Akan. From a very distant mind, I began to understand why some of the names and aspects of the story of ancient Egypt felt so familiar to me. He says, I did not discover only Akan names in the ancient Egyptian story. I discovered the Ebre, the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Ga, Agdame, and the Hausa names, especially in ancient Egyptian kings lists. So what the hell are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? This man is telling your ass that different tribes made up the Egyptians. What the hell are you talking about? What tribe are you from? Now me, I can insert myself into this history because I know what tribe I come from. So when I go to my African Ancestry DNA, let's see if one of these names pop up. Let's see if out of these tribes that this man has listed comes from the ancient Egyptian king list. Let's see, do I come from one of these tribes, and am I a modern descendant of one of these tribes? And I'm circling this name right here, this word right here, the Hausa, right? So he says he discovered that the Ebre, the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Ga, Agdame, and Hausa names, especially in the ancient Egyptian kings list. Okay, so when we go to my African Ancestry DNA, okay, and we're gonna do this. So I'm proving this, and you niggas just trying to find some way to try to throw me under the bus. Like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And you from there. You should know this shit, dude. You claim you're an African. You're from Africa. and you're not giving me any type of sources to go off of for me to check this stuff. You just saying you from a tribe. You ain't named not one goddamn tribe. Get the fuck out of here, man. So let's read this. What does mine say? This is African Ancestry DNA. Let's read what this says. Dear Mrs. Smith, it is with great pleasure that I report our Matri clan analysis to successfully identify your maternal genetic ancestry. By analyzing your mitochondrial DNA, we have determined that you share maternal genetic ancestry with the people living in 2 countries today. The Bubi people living in Baiko Island, Equatorial Guinea, and Tikar, Hausa, and Fulani people in Cameroon. So, you have here the Hausa people, the Hausa, and here is the same name that Hausa, that this man named in this book that goes back to the ancient Egyptians. So I will be a modern descendant of the ancient Egyptians. And here's the haplogroups. Here's the haplogroups. L1B1, sequence similarity score, 100%. Okay? Now, let's keep on going. So you can't just speak shit out there. You gotta show some references, some facts, something. Just don't speak shit. Alright? Now, what I want to do is, we're going to get into some of these books of the Bible. Okay? So, now check this out. Check this out. Let's do this. Let me let you hear this woman speak again. She's from Cameroon. She's from the Bamaliki people. And listen to what she says. So I'm giving you sources. You niggas just speaking shit. Ain't showing no facts. And at the end of the day, when we read the stories in the Bible about what the ancient Egyptians did, and this person did that, and that person did that, and Noah did this, guess what? They all stories. None of us there back then. And the only thing we can do is use our imagination and imagine what they did back in those times. Same thing what our ancestors did. They came up with the concept of God, an imaginary being, because they didn't know how the hell they got here. So let's listen to the rest of this conversation I have with this lady, and you're gonna hear what she says. But this nigga come over here talking this dumb shit, so I'm confused. Do you need to go back to Africa and learn your own shit? Okay? Let's listen to this. Listen to this.
You know, it was essentially, black folks that were educated, highly educated, that came up with this religion.
Yeah.
And that religion became a prosperous, it had a prosperous message, and it was a religion that actually guided people to better their lives through education and all sorts of things, and it's changed.
Right. And just in general, the whole idea and concept of God, why we believe in God, is because our ancestors came up with that idea and concept.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Especially with reincarnation. That's another form of belief. You don't die and come back, and that's another idea and concept our ancestors came up with the shedding of the snake skin. And when the snake shed its skin,
places where the slave trade was heavy. And I think in most countries and most people, if you pass away, your body has to return to the village because they want your soul to stay there, right? They want to keep your spirit alive in the village, surrounded by family.
Okay.
And so in some villages in particular, if you die, if let's say you marry somebody who's from a different village, there's one particular village in Cameroon, and several villages in Cameroon, where if you marry a woman from that village, or anybody from that village, their body must always return to that village. It cannot go, if you're married to them and you've been married 20 years, and you're from a different village, your spouse cannot be buried in your village. Your spouse has to be buried in the village that they were born.
Okay.
And that is for several different reasons. One reason, they say that during the time before colonialization, there was a lot of cannibalism. And I don't know if it's folktale, if it's true, whatever. But the cannibals came out of parts of Nigeria, Calabar.
Okay.
And so the Calabar would come across the border to Cameroon and take, some of these women as brides. But knowing that they were going to eat them, they would come back and try to take more. But one story is that a man who had done that, he was trying to come back to the village to get another wife. His wife was dead, and they actually saw her in the market.
Wow.
So after that story, they said that they will never, ever allow their women to leave and never come back. If they die, they have to see that their body is actually dead. They have to bury them in their village. And another reason was because during the slave trade, there was a lot of people that disappeared. And they want to be able to see that what actually happened to them. So that was another thing.
So I have a coworker. He's from Nigeria. He's other Yoruba people. And he told me, he said, over there in Nigeria, where he's from, he said they do still practice cannibalism. He said if you go over there to certain areas, they sell human body parts as food.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And he said if you do not know, if you come over there as a tourist and you come among a certain tribe and you don't know their language and customs, he said that they will set you up and have you killed, and they will murder you, and they will eat you.
So how long has this friend of yours? When's the last time he was in Nigeria?
He said it's been a while. He said his parents came to America. I think he said like 25 years ago. But he said it's been a while since he's been back home. Because he said that he notices the ways that the youth disrespects the elders. Because he said over there in Nigeria, they do not tolerate the youth to disrespect the elders.
Right. Right. But Nigeria has also changed a lot since he's been there, and I would recommend that you tell him that he needs to go back to really get his full idea.
Okay.
You could say stuff about your country you haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
You can just make up whatever. Because, one thing I know is the people outside talk much more about the people inside and know nothing about what goes on inside.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm from Cameroon. I don't know every village in Cameroon, but, I go to Cameroon at least once or twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. So I kind of have a pulse of what's going on in inside the country and in some of these villages. But even me, knowing what's going on, I still cannot put my finger on the pulse of what goes on a daily basis.
Right.
Unless I'm living there. You know what I'm saying? I come, I visit, I'm staying 2-3 weeks, and I leave.
Right.
Life is not about when I visit. Life goes on, and, whatever happens, happens with the locals.
Exactly.
But I still have family there, and I keep in touch with everybody. But, if they have struggles or they have whatever, I don't really hear about it as much because I'm not there.
Okay.
I only hear bits and pieces. And, one of the reasons why countries, especially heads of state, presidents, they feel like when there's an election they have to close the internet is because there's so much fake news that happens during the...
Okay, so I'll pause right there, okay? So you see, I talked to this woman twice. That's the first time I talked to her. That's an ad. Don't worry about that. That's an ad that popped up on this app that I have. And it's the first time I talked to her was May 16th, 2019.
Hello. Number of your DNA. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So if you have a small portion that's African ancestry, and then you do the ancestry DNA test, and then you might find African matches on the ancestry DNA site, because they will tell you if you have matches, whereas African ancestry will not, and you'll find that you might match, because of where equatorial Guinea is, you might match Cameroonians, Nigerians, Congolese, because we are all in that central region of Africa.
Right. I also found that what we call the continent of Africa, it was never called that back then. It was called Negritia. And we were always known as, like over here in America, during slavery, we were called niggers through racism and things like that. But I found that we were always known as niggers from the beginning of time. That was not a racist word.
Right.
And I found that the oldest name for God or any type of deity, they called him nigger. And I come to realize that. Yeah, I come to. Right. I tell people these things, they think I'm crazy. Like, are you serious that God's name, his original name was nigger? I said, yes, that's true. I mean, there's no way to get around that. And now I come to realize that I ask people who are Bible believers why they can never get past this question when I ask them this. When I say it says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, I asked him to stop right there. I said, well, who is writing for God in the Bible? Because no one is being created yet. Who's there to document these events take place? And no one can never seem to answer that. And especially when it comes down to the things with the Big Bang or evolution, who's there to witness that event? But I found out that it was us. We black people did all this stuff. We are the guys and goddesses. Right, exactly. It's our story. So everything is pretty much centered around us. And we go by all these labels like Hebrew Israelites and Egyptians and Moors and things like that. Well, all those terms came later. We are pretty much the I am. We are the God. We are God.
And our tradition is our religion. So, people talk about Christianity that came way after, Islam that came way after, but before that, it was our tradition, which our belief about the air and the the earth and the water. So, there's just so much that Africans have contributed to this world, and we just have to continue to tell our story.
Right. Right.
Yep.
And one more thing, I
You have
want
a question for me?
yes.
Okay, let me stop right there. Okay, so you saw me asking this woman a question, and she's agreeing with what I'm saying. She's from Cameroon. She's on the Bangladeshi people. Now let's get into these books of the Bible. So you have here the book of Amos, right? In the Bible, the book of Amos. I'm going to show you where that name comes from and who it applies to in history today. Well, in history. Okay? Okay? 1 second. Okay. So you have here Amos, right? It says, in the Old Testament, there is the book of Amos, pronounced Amo, A-H-M-O, Amo. The name Amo was and is still an indigenous Akan name. It says Amo was a royal name in the New Kingdom of ancient Egypt. The first of the 18th dynasty kings of ancient Egypt was called Amo. He ruled from 1575 to 1550 in the various versions of the transpositions of ancient Egyptian kings' names into Greek. Africanus called this king Amos, and Eusebius called him Amosis. And other renderers, he is known as Amosis. Who is this? Who is this man? Who is this book of the Bible talking about? Who is this book really about? Where did they get this name Amos or Amos from? From this man. This dude. An ancient Egyptian Amos the first. He was a pharaoh. This dude's a pharaoh, man. They took this man's name and jacked it up and whitewashed it and desecrated it. So this dude was a pharaoh. He reigned from 1549 to 1524 BC, Egyptian chronology, 25 years and 4 months in Manetho, predecessor of Kamos, Upper Egypt, and Kamu, Lower Egypt, successor Amenhotep the first. Okay, and he had children, and his children was Amosis, Mary Amen, Amos, Sit Amen, Amos, Amenhotep the first. Wamosi was an ancient Egyptian prince of the 18th dynasty. Okay. They found mummy found in he's buried in Abydos. Okay? So it says here that. So this dude reigned, he was in rulership from 1575 to 1550 BC, and you got here somewhere within this time frame. They got, how Wikipedia fuck stuff up. Right? So it got here. This name was therefore ancient Egyptian Akan and not a Jewish name. So your book of Amos is really this man, Amos. Or the Greeks call him Amosis. The same thing that's in this man's book is on the damn Wikipedia. So your books of the Bible is bullshit. These books of the Bible are Egyptian names. And I so happen to come from these niggas. I can't speak for everybody else. You don't trust the white man's DNA when it's time to do African Ancestry DNA. But when it's time to do the baby mama drama and the baby daddy drama shit, you trust that. So let's keep on going here. it says here that this name was therefore ancient Egyptian and Akan and not a Jewish name. It was a document of this Amos in ancient Egypt that the Jewish scholars of the Bible took and conferred onto a fictitious Amos in Israel, and then wrote the history of Israel around him to make this plagiarism more authentic. As this name was transposed into the Greek language, the scholars simply added the Greek ornamental suffix s to it, and it has since become Amos to the Greeks, Europeans, and the world. From English phonology, this name is pronounced with a long A or A. However, I have heard and noticed that some Jewish people and even biblical scholars pronounce this name with a short A, just as pronounced in Akan. In their pronunciation, therefore, Amos is pronounced Amos, or Amo. Take off the suffix s, and the pronunciation of this name becomes exactly as it was in the ancient Akan language of Egypt, and continues to be today in Africa. Nevertheless, Amo is an African name, and the name of this author originated from an African tribe. Scholars that are interested in checking out the veracity of this revelation and the origin of this name should go to the Akan people in Ghana. So you have ancient Egyptians. So you have a group of people who identify themselves as the ancient Egyptians. But what tribe do these ancient Egyptians, these pharaohs, come from? I just gave it to you. So this pharaoh, this pharaoh Amos and his successors, Amos the first and the second and third and all that stuff, they were known as ancient Egyptians. But as a tribe, they come from the Akan people. That's in Ghana. I'm giving you straight facts. I'm not speaking stuff out of thin air like you niggas are doing. Like this damn fool. This dude talking about he's from Africa, and he's talking about not all those tribes you mentioned were ancient Egyptians. Okay, we know that. Talking about I'm confusing myself, written by books by different people who are trying to make money. How do you expect to learn without reading? Since you claim you're from Africa, you the source. You should be telling me. You from there? Go back home and talk to the tribe you from, and see can they verify the information I'm putting out. Show them my YouTube channel. Ask them. I'm quite sure they can speak English. Ask them. If the information I'm saying is true. You from Africa? You say your tribes know all this stuff. Well, what tribe are you from? You ain't mentioning out a goddamn tribe. Even though it was created from the Bantu language. Do you know how many tribes it is, man? You from Africa, man. You supposed to know this stuff. And when I click on your icon, let's click on your icon and see if you got any videos up on your own, any presentation on your own. What you got? Nothing. Probably sure you don't got nothing. All you got is subscriptions. People's channels who you are subscribed to, but I don't see any work that you have produced on your own. So you going to other people's channels, critiquing them and judging them when you ain't did a goddamn work of your own. Get the hell out of here, man. How you qualify to judge and critique people when you ain't produced not a damn nothing? I can claim I'm from Africa and say all these tribes do all this different stuff, but if I don't produce any facts, you just talking shit. Get the hell out of here, man. You're supposed to be better than that, bro. You from the damn place. Come here talking this shit. So by proximity and technicality, I come from these people. So you got different tribes that will make up what you call ancient Egyptians. You got the Akan. Let's go back here. the Akan, the Yoruba, the Ewe, the Igbo. Well, no damn Hebrews around in that time, during that time frame. Let's go back here. He says, I'm an African, specifically Akan. Okay? He says specifically Akan, right? And he named them. He named the tribes. He named the tribes. He says, I'm an African, specifically Akan. As I began the exercise of trying to decipher the indigenous names of ancient Egyptian kings, peoples, and places, I began to discover that most of these names were Akan. From a very distant mind, I began to understand why some of the names and aspects of the story of ancient Egypt felt so familiar to me. He says, I did not discover only Akan names in the ancient Egyptian story. I also discovered the Ewe or the Ewe, the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Ga, Agdame, and Hausa names, especially in the ancient Egyptian kings list. And then when you go ahead to my DNA thing, with the African Ancestry DNA, it says that, dear Mr. Smith, I share ancestry with people living in 2 countries today. The Bubi people in Baiko Island and Equatorial Guinea, and Tikar, Hausa, and Fulani people in Cameroon. And here are the haplogroups and all that stuff. Okay? I'm proving this stuff. What have you produced? Not a goddamn thing that's talking shit. Get the hell out of here, man. So all of your tribes, all of your books of the Bible are based on tribal names. People, tribal names, this and that. Like Isaiah, Haggai, Jeremiah, Zechariah, Obadiah, Joshua, Samuel, Hosea. These are all African names. Daniel, Jonah, Ezekiel, Ezra, Habakkuk, Nahum, Nehemiah, Zephaniah, Malachi. You got some shit that's in the Apocrypha. Paul's name was Paul, not Paul. Peter's name is Pete from the God Agdami people. Jesus' name, I'm gonna show you what what tribe Jesus comes from. From Ayisu to Jesus. In an early discussion, I revealed that the name of the tribal, political, and religious group to which John the Baptist and Jesus belonged was the Essene, or the Icene. Icene is one of the tribal groups of the Akan people. The Icene was the name that was transposed to Essene, the Essene, in the history of the Jewish people, and pronounced as Essene of the European tongues. The direction of the transposition of the indigenous Akan name Ayisu into European orthography and phonology is evident. It began with the dropping of the initial A. The name was transposed into Greek as Yesu, and then given a ornamental suffix S for it to become Yegis. What is noteworthy about this name is that Western Europeans call him Jesus from Greek orthography. However, the Catholics call him Yesu or Jesu, closer to the original Kan phonology of this name. How did the Y in Jesus or Jesus become a J in Jesus? In the earlier period of the development of the English alphabet, there was no Y. The alphabet J was written with a small v, on top and pronounced as a Y, as Y. See a companion to Barr and Cable's History of English Languages, 2nd edition, page 2. It was from the alphabet J with a small V on top that the alphabet Y with a V on top was derived. This is the reason modern alphabet Y carries a V on a horizontal bar. The bar was originally part of the lower half of the letter J. The etymology of the name of Yesu is not only Akan because the Ewe people or the Ewe people also have a variation of the name of Adyesus. He says some of my colleagues think the Ewe variation is even closer to the European name of Jesus. Whichever way one wants to take it, the name Jesus was derived from an African name. Elsewhere in this book, I also revealed that the indigenous Akan name that became Josephus in Latin and Joseph in English was Osapo. And I will never be surprised if further research reveals that the indigenous name of the mother of Jesus was Omari, also an Akan name. Otherwise, how did a non-European come by the indigenous name Mary? What is most interesting about these revelations is that the Akan names that were transposed and corrupted in foreign tongues are still the names of modern descendants of the ancient Akan and other African tribes from whom the Akan people broke away into the Exodus. Why aren't you bringing this out, dude? You're supposed to be from Africa. You're supposed to know all this shit. How come you're not saying this? The Apocrypha is false. The Apocrypha. The Africans in the Apocrypha. Not many Christians know about the Apocrypha, though some must have heard of it. Earlier Christian communities found out earlier that some of the documents purported to have been written from the ordination of God were downright fictitious and fraudulent. Among such documents were the writings that were compiled into what was called the Apocrypha. The documents of the Apocrypha used to be part of the Old Testament, but they were removed when earlier apostolic fathers of Christian communities found out that some fictitious documents were being passed around as God's word. This was the reason these documents was given to the Greek name Apocrypha. In the Apocrypha too, some of the main characters also have Akan names. You see that? So what about like here, the Hebrews, the Jewish people not building no damn pyramids. It says here in number 5, and it concludes on this book, again, modern scholastic research has found out that the biblical claim that the Jewish people were slaves in ancient Egypt was also another biblical falsehood. In an essay titled Go Down into Egypt, the Dawn of American Egyptology and the American Discovery of Ancient Egypt in 1995, Gary D. Scott III noted that George Sandys published his travelogue to Egypt in 1615 and pointed out the erroneous notion that these monuments, the pyramids, were constructed by Hebrew slaves. See that? So what about the people that's mentally challenged? What about the people who can't talk? What about the people that's deaf, that can't speak? And it says that Jesus is going to judge them. And it says in the Old Testament that if you don't do all these commandments, all these curses are going to come upon you. You're going to die and go to hell and shit. Well, what about the people that can't talk? What about the people that's mentally challenged? Is God going to do sign language to them? What about the people that's born with physical defects and defaults? People that's born blind and deaf. They haven't read the Bible. How do they know what Jesus look like? They don't know. How do they know what the sky look like? Because you tell me it's blue. They never seen what color the sky is. And they can think the sky is the color orange. See, you niggas don't think about the rest of the world. You think about your damn self. Okay? I'm bringing out all these facts, and all you can do is just say stuff and you don't show any references, any type of evidence, you're not really qualified to really address what I say, because you haven't produced any type of information or videos on your own to prove what you say is true. Just because you claim, you say you're from Africa, you haven't produced any facts saying what tribe you from. You haven't shown me what rituals what tribe you all do. You just talking shit. So now what I'm going to do is I want to block your ass. You about to get blocked. I'm not about to keep on entertaining dumb stuff, dumb, stupid commentaries. Just ignorant, man. Ignorant. I'm putting all this goddamn proof. The only thing you all can do is come on here and talk shit about me. You don't even ask, hey man, where you get those references from? You don't ask enough. You just want to down talk me and just talk shit about me. Damn shame. And I shouldn't have to entertain these people individually and put them on blast like that. Damn shame. Made no damn sense, man. So what I'm saying is that I'll put it like this. People don't like people, since we know that God is imaginary, you don't actually hate God. Because God's imaginary. You don't hate God. You hate the people who came up with the concept of God. You hate the people who made that being, who made that up. And you hate black people. That's facts. You don't hate the being God, because God is made in man's image and man is made in God's image. Because man came up with the concept and idea of God. Black folks. So it's not like some God in the sky is listening to you, because he's imaginary. So what you really want to say is that you hate black people. You don't hate God. You hate the black man and woman who came up with that concept and idea. Because the black man and woman is God. So when I say I don't believe in God, I'm actually right. I'm actually stating what I say. I don't believe in God because I know who and what God is. Once you know who and what God is, who are you praying to? Nobody's answering your prayers. Oh, I heard a word from the Lord, and God told me this. He ain't told you a goddamn thing, because God's imaginary. Let's read it again. So like with King Tut, they fucked this name up, and his name is an Akan name, Amen, right? They fucked that up, and his name was Tutu Akoma, the boy king of ancient Egypt, whose name Europeans have corrupted to Tutankhamen. So like the Ankh, this is wrong. It's supposed to be the NKW. Right? And this word means life. So let's read it one more time. So the back of what I said, that people don't actually hate God. They don't hate God because God's imaginary. They hate the people who came up with the concept of God. Let's read it one more time to prove it. Christianity has just entered. Okay, I read that part. So let's scroll down. Let's skip down here. And it says that, however, the worst lying sin of the church was the premeditated transformation of the racial and ethnic identity of Jesus, his mother, and the entire people of the Bible, from the black people they were to white people, to satisfy emerging European racist sentiments against black people. This made it possible for Christian Europe to perceive black people, who created the concept, doctrines, and sacramental practices that eventually became the foundation of Christianity, as the cursed ones by the very God black people imagined, created, and personified. It made it possible for the church to authorize Europeans to enslave black people because they were pagans. It made it possible for ignorant Europe to perceive black people as inferior and white people as superior. It also made it possible for Europeans to go to church to worship a God that was created by black people, and then became the home, and then came home to perpetuate the worst atrocities on black people that were their slaves. Worst of all, this made it possible for Christian Europe and Europeans to justify all the atrocities that were perpetuating against black people, the original people of the Bible, as ordained by God. You see that? So just using this alone, I just substantiated and proved what I said. You don't hate God. You hate the people who came up with the concept of God. You hate black folks. You hate niggas. That's facts. You hate black people. So before you come on my channel talking shit, do your research. State facts. So it doesn't matter. All the stories we read in the Bible, the Quran, the Vedic scriptures, when you like in this book right here, I'm reading about this man's life, and he says that he's from the Akan people, right? And he knows about the history. So the only thing I can do is use my imagination and play out his story in my mind to make it in movie format. And that's what we are doing. None of us is there back in those times to witness the pyramids being built, the presidents, the first president, second president, all these presidents we learned about. We ain't learning about. We don't know these niggas, and we don't know these people individually. But we read about them, and we gotta learn about them, and all we do is use our imagination to imagine what it was like back in slavery. Like here, let's get the slave trade, right? The slave trade, okay? Let's look at the slave trade. Atlantic slave trade, right? And they show stuff like this: the slave boats, and you got the handcuffs and all this type of stuff, right? And you got the slaves, group of men, women, and children being taken to the slave market, right? So I take this image and I produce it. I imagine it in my mind and imagine what it was like to be. Imagine what it have been like to be a slave, or what it have been like to go through those hardships and times. Okay, we wasn't there back then. We don't know what happened. Only thing we need to do is use our imagination, and that's what we do. Every damn day we use our imagination to wonder what it would be like to go through that, to do this, to do that. Okay? That's facts. I'm speaking facts. We can read all this shit. We can read all this stuff. It don't matter. At the end of the day, all you can do is use your imagination. Like, man, I wonder what it would have been like to have gone through that stuff. Or if you meet me for the first time and say, hey, you had just experienced somebody held you at gunpoint. I wasn't there, but you tell me the story that you were sitting in your car and you were held at gunpoint, and somebody told you to out the car and give it the keys, or they're gonna get your damn head blown off, right? Now you tell me the story. I don't know you, but you tell me the story. So now by you telling me the story, do I have to believe you? No. Only thing I can do is use my imagination and replay the image of what you tell me what happened in my head. So all we are doing is using our imagination. We say, oh, the Macedonians did this, the Greeks did that, the Romans did that, the Egyptians did that, the Hebrews did that, the barbarians did that. Well, guess what? Give me some individual names. Show me where these people are still living at in Africa or where at. Show me their modern descendants. Okay? And all you can do is use your imagination. That's facts. So they took the name Amos in the Bible and took this man's name, Amos or Amo, and made it Amos and Amosis. And that's how you get your Bible, book of the Bible, Amos. With that being said, I say peace and click subscribe.